Hello everyone, welcome back to the Topical Hour. Today we're going to be reviewing Horizon Zero Dawn, and as usual, I'll give a number rating first. I'd say it's probably an 8.5 out of 10. Not a 9, not an 8, an 8.5. Now I haven't played any of the Witcher games, Dark Souls, Skyrim, or anything like that, but I will say that this game is definitely a testament to how far games have come. In a technical sense, it loads pretty quickly on the base PS4, and the lighting of the map and the characters are legitimately next level. And the combat, stealth, and weapon system is probably in the top 3 of every game I've ever played. Playing this game is a genuine pleasure, but the story is pretty weak. I'll start off by saying that the plot is actually pretty good, with Aloy just wanting to find out where she's from and who made her, but I don't think it was handled well. First off, I think the dialogue trees hurt this game in a big way. I'd sacrifice quite a few of the little side errands if it meant that the dialogue cutscenes looked a little bit better. The lighting, scenery, and character models are also top notch in this game, although the character models don't look good in those robotic dialogue cutscenes, but otherwise, the story is good. The twist of her being a clone of Elizabeth Sobek was also pretty good. I also like her affinity to not only be better than others, but to prefer to work alone. If you'll notice, people in this game constantly offer to come with Aloy on missions, or to be involved with her, if you know what I mean. But she really is a lone wolf, and her mastery of the machines in combat does make sense narratively, although I think the training montage with Rost could have been an actual part of the gameplay, instead of a simple montage. I don't really like a simple montage of training in a video game that's designed to make you play through an experience. Oh, and Rost. I completely forgot about Rost by the end of the story. I didn't really feel anything when he died other than, oh, that that one guy died. But all the other side characters were done pretty well. I liked Erend and how simple he seemed at the beginning, but you slowly come to learn about his whole life and the tragedy of his sister. And this could honestly be a complaint, but I kind of like the twist about Erend's sister Ursa and how they get to have a few moments together at the end. Some people could call that a cliche, but I think it's a much more satisfying way to end it for Ursa and a way to give good closure to Erend. Then there's Varl and the War Chief. First off, you can kind of sense that they have some kind of connection when Varl asks Aloy to find Sona. And I think the fact that it turned out to be his mother was actually really cool and done pretty well. I also like that everyone comes back to fight at the end of the main story. It's a really cool way to close off that chapter of this story. To sum up the story, it's really good, but the dialogue cutscenes undercut some of the emotion. And I also think that Aloy feels a bit heartless sometimes, but I just think it, again, comes from those dialogue trees and character movement. Then there's the gameplay. This gameplay is really good. First, there's the progression system we need to talk about. I think the skill tier system could have been improved a bit. I found myself so limited at the beginning that it felt more annoying to progress than anything, but only really for the skill tiers. Crafting armor, getting better weapons and resources were handled very well in this game. I was probably the only idiot who thought that the herbal health bar at the top could be filled once, but because you can fill it 3 times, health potions and health boosters don't feel like as much of a crutch. And I also like the defense potions. When fighting bigger machines or groups of humans, it's always good to have the elemental defense potions around. It's a pretty cool way to make you keep wanting to scavenge, even if you have the best gear in the game. I also found it really cool how fast you can craft ammo and reload. A game shouldn't test you on how many enemies you can incapacitate or kill with only 1 mag of ammo and a 12-second reload. The combat feels fluid and fun, and I rarely even have to pay attention to how many arrows I have at once because I can just craft them mid-battle. I also like the travel system. I remember thinking at the beginning of this game that it was going to be so annoying to either have to walk or fast travel everywhere you go, but they fixed that by introducing the machine hacking aspect of the game and story nice and early. And I also thought that 2 of the coolest upgrades in the game were the unlimited fast travel pack and calling a new hacked steed instead of constantly having to travel somewhere to find one. So many games like this fail in that they think being annoying is the same thing as difficulty. Being as average a player as I am, I'm perfectly comfortable admitting that, besides learning the controls and the mechanics, the beginning of this game can be difficult for the first time. They do a good job introducing new machines and threats along the way. In my humble opinion, difficulty is better through progression than just not letting the player improve their skill set at a reasonable rate. Besides the skill point system, this game handles progression through gameplay perfectly. It's actually funny thinking of the Sawtooth as the most dangerous machine in the beginning. However, there are a few flaws in this set of gameplay. One, I wish you could cancel a heavy strike by dodging or something along those lines. It's really annoying if I hit my trigger by accident and end up being locked in an animation for 3 seconds. I cannot stress how much that annoys me. Two, only being able to upgrade the spirit through DLC expansion. I was one of the people who got this game for free through PlayStation's Stay at Home campaign, which means I also got the Frozen Wilds for free. I find it annoying that you can pick up spear upgrades but not be able to use them unless you complete some inconvenient quest in the middle of a frozen wasteland. I feel like this game should have at least had some kind of errand or side mission, like travel to the Frozen Wilds to explore the cut, and then when you get there, maybe you get dialogue from Aloy talking about how weak her spear feels and that maybe there's a way to upgrade it around the cut. And the last problem is that there are times when upgrades in general should be mentioned, like maybe have lines of dialogue of Aloy saying stuff like, wow, I feel like my armor doesn't protect me very much, or my weapons feel so outdated. Something better than that, but definitely along those lines to let the player know that their weapons are a little bit weaker than they should be, rather than them going around thinking that the game is way harder than it should be. I don't know, maybe I'm just complaining too much, but I distinctly remember not knowing how much I could upgrade my gear in the beginning. I felt like it was just fire arrows, rattlers, tripcasters, and tripwires, and honestly, you need to progress in this game. The developers make a point that if you don't progress as you're supposed to, you're not going to be able to complete the game. It's just the truth. I also realize that the next game in this franchise is coming out relatively soon, and I'm pretty excited. However, there are a few things that need to be considered. One, what is the next plot going to be? This one was good, but it wasn't handled very well, and if they had the same level of plot construction for a sequel, people would be angry. Two, the upgrade system. This kind of falls under the Arkham series problem with you having to upgrade the same thing in 4 different games. I wouldn't be opposed to some plot reason of Aloy losing all her stuff to make way for progression. This could make people angry because it takes a while to get the best stuff in the first game, but if they added new elements and weapons tied to the setting of this game, it could seriously pop off. To put it simply, it's a really good game with great mechanics, a solid story, and really good graphics. The only main thing that bugs me is, again, those dialogue trees. They make it really difficult to care about these characters, which sucks because I think Aloy could be a really nuanced and cool character if done correctly. Like all sequels, I hope the next game is an improvement on the original, and if it's not, that's okay. This game is A tier, and sometimes it's hard to top that in the same series. I also hope that this game enriches, expands, and enhances the world Aloy is in. And I hope the next game we experience lives up to its predecessor. Like I always say, this review took me a long time to make, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, I'd love it if you subscribe because it makes me feel all warm and fuzzy inside. Or don't, that's fine. Play nice, people.